Excuse my unicorn hair. I've just worked it up and I'm wearing a scarf because it's freezing in this room. But today I thought I would do the all new baby name tag video that SJ Strum has set up. I've loved watching all of her videos for baby name inspiration. If you haven't checked out any of my previous videos, I'm currently 35 weeks pregnant with my first baby. Which is why I thought it'd be really interesting to do this, because it really helps me think of alternative names. And I've watched loads of people's videos where they've been tagged in these videos, and I just really have enjoyed watching them, so I thought I'd film my own. So that's the plan for today's video. So the first question is, if you had a baby tomorrow, what would you call them, boy and girl? I could literally have a baby tomorrow. It's not alien for people to have babies like 5 weeks early. I'm not going to reveal my baby girl name just because it is the name that we're going to be calling her. But I will give you a teaser. It begins with H. Now that's the only teaser that I'm going to give out. No one, obviously my friends and family, know what her name's going to be. But it begins with a H. If anyone fancies guessing, comment them down below. I'm not going to tell if you're right or wrong, but I really want to hear your suggestions on H names. But she is going to be a little H. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you because I want to keep it a surprise for when she's born and I introduce her to you. But yeah, she's going to be a little H. And if we had a boy, Rich and I have both really liked the name Leo for a boy. And we said that if we were having a boy instead of a girl right now, then he would have been called Leo. So that's the answer to question number 1. So the next question is, what would you rename yourself keeping your same first initial? That's really hard because there's not loads of A names. You know, I like a load of A names like Alyssa, or I don't like Amelia. I quite like Alex, but I can't imagine being anything but an Amy though. That's really weird, isn't it? I'd probably have to go for something like Alessia or something, only because it's quite uncommon and my name is so common. I've grown up often with several Amy's in my class, and when I was younger I used to wish that I had a different, not a different name, but I wish it was slightly less common. But yeah, it's really hard to say anything else because I don't really know. I can't imagine being anything but me. It's really difficult, isn't it? I'd love to know what you guys have said, and there's been some great suggestions on the videos that have already answered this tag. But it's really difficult when you've been associated with a certain name, and I just can't imagine being anything but that. But yeah, I guess I will just say for the purpose of the question, Alicia. Now, the next question is a really fun one. It says, what would you have been / wish you would have been called if you were the opposite gender? Now, I know the answer to this question because my mum and dad didn't know whether I was a girl or a boy until I was born. And so with that in mind, they had a girl's name and a boy's name. Their girl's name was obviously Amy, and their boy's name was actually Josh. So if I would have been a boy, I would have been a Josh. I feel like, again, that's quite a common name for the year in which I was born. I was born in 1994. And I feel like there's quite a lot of Joshes that were born around the same time. It was a really popular name. But it's weird to think, isn't it, that they just didn't know whether I was going to be an Amy or a Josh until she gave birth. Whereas, being pregnant with my first now, I've just had to find out, as soon as I could. All I wanted to do was find out. So, yeah, I would have been a little Josh. So question number 4 is favourite vintage baby name for boy or girl? For a girl, I'll definitely say Iris. I always like that name. It was definitely on both mine and Rich's baby girls name list before we got pregnant, but when we actually found out that we were pregnant and we were having a girl, we just decided against it. I think it just didn't really sound right with Rich's last name. And we both, when you say it, it just didn't sound right. And I think that you know very quickly when you say a name whether you like it as much as you thought you liked it when it becomes a reality. But I've always liked that name. If ever I'm playing Sims or something, one of the babies will be called Iris. I do love the name. I think it's very vintage. I just think of very I don't know. It's it has the flower connotations. But I always think of grandparents. I think it's a very old style name that's coming back into fashion. I know quite a few people, not that I've necessarily called them Iris, but like very similar kind of names from around that era. So that would definitely be my girl's name. And boy's name, I don't even know if this is vintage, but it's the first name that came to mind when I saw this question. So I might just be making up the fact that I think it's vintage. But I really like Levi for a boy. I'm not too sure how it would be vintage thinking about it. Although I guess I still feel like it's a very kind of older generation name that's being turned around a little bit. That's kind of my explanation for going for it anyway. But you guys might just think it's quite a trendy name, I'm not too sure. But that's the first name that came to mind, and I just think a little Levi is really, really cute. For me, it gives me vintage vibes, so I'm going to go for that one anyway. Favourite nature baby name for a boy and a girl? For a girl, that's really easy for me because I really liked Ivy. That was definitely one of my favourite girls' names and definitely on my list, but Rich didn't like it as much as I did. And for a boy, I'd have to go with the name Rain. I think that that's really, really nice. Obviously, nature connotations because of rain. But I remember I had a lecturer at uni called Rain, and he really suited the name, and it made me realise that it wasn't just like a child and baby's name, it could actually suit like adults as well. And that was the only thing that would like put me off of that type of name, because I think it's really cutesy, but then when you get older it's really difficult to have like a cute name, isn't it? Because you just can't imagine it suiting someone. But as soon as I had a lecturer called Rain, it didn't put me off of the name at all. But if anything, it just reinstated the fact that it's appropriate for all ages. So that would definitely be my boy's name suggestion for nature name. So my favourite YouTuber's name and or baby name, I'll have to just go with the first thing that comes to mind for me for this, and it would have to be Alex, spelled A-L-I-X, and that's Alex from I Covet Thee. Her YouTube channel is amazing, and I followed her for years and years and years, like honestly since like her channel was like teeny tiny. But I've loved the fact that her name is spelled A-L-I-X. I think it's really unique, but Alex is quite a common girl's name, I suppose, but to have that slight uncommon spelling to it just makes it really unique. So it proves that you can have like popular trendy names, but you can make them your own. So for me, that would have to be my favourite YouTuber's name for sure. So the next question is favourite literary name, and this is quite difficult, so I've got a list up because I haven't really thought about these answers, because I kind of wanted to go with the things that first came into my head, but this one's a really difficult one. I really like the name Daisy, who doesn't? It's quite a popular name now, but I've got a little niece called Daisy and it really suits her. And that's Daisy from The Great Gatsby. Trying to see if there's any other names on this list. I do like Harper. Again, I feel like it's become really popular lately. But, you know, I think that that's a really nice kind of sounding name, and I think, again, it will suit kind of all ages and be really appropriate. Hazel is one that I absolutely loved. This was always when I was younger. I used to always think that I would have a girl called Hazel. Spoiler, our girl's not called Hazel. But that was a name that I really, really liked. I really like H beginning names. It's really weird. But Hazel is definitely one. And Hazel is like in The Fault of Our Stars and stuff. And Julia Roberts called her daughter Hazel as well. And literary names for boys, the first one was Albus, like Albus Dumbledore from Harry Potter. I don't think you could call your baby Albus. I'd love to know if anyone has though. Well, I do really like the name Jude as well. My boss at work has a kid called Jude, so it like, again, stops you from calling your child that. But I do like the name Jude a lot. I think that that's really, really nice and quite like timeless as well. I think it's quite a classic name. And yeah, that's kind of from this first list that I saw. They're the kind of names that I really like from that. To pick a favourite, I'll have to choose Hazel as a girl, because that was literally a name that was always on my list when I was younger. Favourite O name that isn't Oliver or Olivia? Obviously, Oliver and Olivia are at the top of the girls and boys name charts. They have been for like years. They're like the most common names. But different O sounding names. I really do like Oscar for a boy. I feel like it's a very like dog name no. But I do like the name Oscar. I think that that is really nice. So for a girl, I do quite like the name Aura. But O-R-A instead of A-U-R-A. Uora, I guess. It's quite a simplistic spelling of the word aura, but I do quite like that. I think it sounds really nice. I don't think I'd call my child that, but I do really like it. And for a boy, I do like the name Oakley. Now, my mum and dad have a dog called Oakie, so again, that kind of stops you from wanting to use that name in a different context, but I do like Oakley. I think that it's really nice sounding, and I like 2-syllable names a lot. I do also like the name Olive for a girl, but I just, like, it doesn't sound right with Rich's surname either, but I think there's some really cute little Olives in the world. I know it's really grown in popularity this year and last year, and I think it's a really cute name, and again, really like classic, and I guess you can imagine kind of baby olives as well as adult olives and things like that. So it's really weird to think of kind of other names, but I think they'd definitely be my like top picks for that question. So question number 9 was, what did you wish you were called when you were younger? And again, I kind of mentioned earlier that I can't really imagine having a different name to mine, but I did used to wish that my name was, instead of ending with a Y, so it's A-M-Y, I used to wish it was A-M-I-E, just because I thought that was a little bit more unusual. I thought it'd make me like cooler, and it would differentiate me between the other Amy's like in my year at school, because there were quite a few of us. But I always wished I had like A-M-I-E, but then I feel like dragging out my first name, and I've got such a long surname too, that it just wouldn't have looked right, and I'm pleased that my parents went with like the simple choice. But yeah, that's the only thing that I could think of when I was younger. I never wished that I was named anything different. I've always liked certain names, and even the name that we're going to be calling our little one is a name that I've liked ever since I was younger. My friend mentioned at my baby shower that I've always said this name like ever since we knew each other, and I was like, that was like 8 years ago, I've always said I wanted to call our baby this. And so to make that a reality is amazing, but I never wished that I was named anything different. Like I never thought, oh, I wish I was that person, or I wish I had that name. I would just change the spelling of mine to A-M-I-E. But yeah, that's kind of the only thing I can think of for that question. So the last question is really appropriate. It says, what name would you / did you immediately veto? And Rich only ever came up with one girl's name suggestion. I was going to feature this in a like baby names we love but won't be using video, which I still might film that, but I will just mention this in this video anyway because it's funny. Rich, when we first found out we were having a girl, he said, what about the name Lara? And I just immediately vetoed it because I just said, I know you're saying that because it's Tomb Raider. Like, that is the only reason why he said that name, was because Lara Croft is Tomb Raider, and I just know that that was his meaning behind it. He was like, no, it's not, I really like the name, but I know Rich so well, and I know him well enough to know that he can't fool me. And it was definitely the reason why he liked that name. And don't get me wrong, I don't like hate it, but I just feel like it's a bit cruel to name them after Tomb Raider, because no, it just wasn't going to happen, I'm afraid. So I put my foot down with that, and that was the first name that I immediately vetoed. I've come up with quite a few names that Rich hasn't liked, but I thought he vetoed the name we're actually going to go for, because it's the name, like I said, that I've always wanted to call my little girl if I ever had a girl. And I'd ever since I got pregnant, I said to him, what about this name, what about this name? And he was like, no, I don't like it, I don't like it. And then something just clicked where he was like, that it's just the right name, isn't it? And I was like, yes. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure he will probably think that'll be me with Lara the next time around, but it won't be. So that's the name I immediately vetoed. You know, we've gone through the names, I think, like a million times, but that's the first one that I was like, absolutely not, because that's just cruel. How can you like name her after like a film character / game character, whatever? So no, that was the name that I immediately vetoed. So guys, that was my take on the new baby name tag video. I would just like to tag all the mums-to-bees that are watching this video, or any little mums that have little babies. I tag you to make this video. So do let me know if you film it, and if you do leave it in the comments below so I can watch yours, because I love seeing other people's answers. I feel like my answers sucked a little bit compared to everyone else's. I feel like everyone else prepared their answers, whereas I've just kind of blagged it. But it's really fun, and I like doing these kind of tag videos. So if there's any others you'd like to see me make, let me know. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm really excited to see yours, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.